We just got more Damascus weapons here in Modern Warfare 2, and these ones sound like they come with some pretty cool tracers and effects, this being the Tracer Pack Damascus Heat Bundle. The first thing we have in this is the Steel Crucible for the Tempest Torrent. The design looks pretty cool. I wonder how this is going to work with camos. The scope is a little bit big for the Tempest Torrent. This is tuned for damage range, aiming stability, and thermal target identification. It has Blurple/liquid metallic tracer impact effects. We'll definitely have to test what that's about. Then for the elimination effects, it just shows this symbol and says dismemberment, so it doesn't even really give it a name. For the secondary weapon, we have the Cast-Off 7.4U. Once again, looks really unique. Wonder how that's going to look like with camos. This one is pro-tuned. It's pro-tuned for recoil control, aim down sight speed, and aim walking speed. Has the same sort of tracer effects. Then we've got the plated carrier vehicle skin, and this vehicle doesn't have a lot of skins for it. It's got like a Damascus look to it. Once again, we'll see what that looks like in game. Then we've got the Forger weapon charm. We've got the Skull Damascus loading screen. Then we've got the Electro Forged emblem here. And with that, let's go ahead and add it to our account. So first, let's take a look at the blueprints and how they look. Starting off with the Cast-Off 7.4U, there's a lot of different Damascus patterns on here. They're kind of all over the place with this blueprint. It's got the magazine looks a little bit different. The top part looks like it's changing colors. Hold on. So it's black and white now, and then it turns to a more, you know, original Damascus color, which is interesting. I love weapons that kind of change colors as you go along with them. Let's look at the bullets, see if it's got custom bullets in there. It does. Now moving on to the Tempest Torrent. Once again, got that same multi-level Damascus feel to it. Bunch of different textures going on. I love the way the scope looks. However, the scope is, you know, a thermal scope. This isn't something I'm probably going to take this off. I don't see myself running the thermal scope on this, but maybe they're onto something. Once again, the top part of this looks like it changes colors. It goes from a black and white texture, and then it moves to that blue and red, more Damascus-like color there. Now let's go ahead and test out the tracers for this. So yeah, it just looks like purple when you shoot it up in the sky. Nothing too special. Now let's see the impact effects. And yeah, that's the metallic / Blurple impact effect they were talking about. It definitely looks liquid. It looks like it's shooting liquid metal there, and it's got a little bit of residue left over when you hit the wall with it. A little bit bigger on the Tempest Torrent. Here we go, camo testing time. Mastery camos do cover up a large portion of the blueprint. However, they don't cover up the part of the blueprint that changes color, leading to a pretty interesting effect. Here's the gold camo on the Tempest Torrent. Once again, has the same coverage. Platinum looks really cool. You can't even tell it has a custom effect until the colors start coming out, and then you can tell this is a specialty blueprint. Here it is on the Tempest Torrent. It's rare that I say this, but I don't like these blueprints with polyatomic. Usually polyatomic looks best on custom blueprints, but just the colors of the Damascus just don't vibe that well with polyatomic. Orion just has way too much going on. Just like polyatomic, I'm not a huge fan of the way Orion looks on this. Bowing Blossoms doesn't look that great either. It just doesn't match at all. The Galvanic camo actually doesn't look that bad. It kind of matches with the electricity just a little bit. This is the charm that comes in the bundle. It's pretty basic. It's just a hammer that's got the Damascus lines on it. Let's test out the dismemberment and custom hit marker effects these weapons have. So go ahead and see the hit marker effect, and unfortunately it appears these weapons do not have custom hit marker effects. Now let's see what happens when you take out an enemy. And yeah, it's normal dismemberment. You can see different limbs fall off of them. So let's go ahead and use the Tempest Torrent. And yeah, he lost an arm there. So unfortunately, that's really all there is to the effects on these weapons. It just has basic dismemberment that doesn't do anything special except make limbs fall off. There we go. Bye-bye, Harrier. Let's see how these weapons perform in an actual game of multiplayer. Oh, okay. Yeah, I would definitely take the thermal scope off the Tempest Torrent. Even if I was playing Ground War or Warzone, this is just a little bit aggressive for this weapon. There we go. And the Cast-Off and its pro tuning feels okay. Nothing too special. It's not the craziest build, but it's also not bad. Now let's test if we can use these tracers on other weapons and what happens to remove all the attachments, starting off with the 7.4U. So this is what it's going to look like with no attachments. It's not terrible, but not too great either. And yes, if you remove all the attachments, you do get to keep the tracers on this, meaning you are not going to be able to put these tracers on other weapons. Then for the Tempest Torrent, let's go ahead and remove all the attachments on this bad boy. This one looks a lot better to remove all the attachments, maybe even a little bit better now that we got rid of the thermal scope. And once again, yes, if you remove all the attachments, you are going to keep the tracer fire. Once again, meaning you are not going to be able to put these tracers on other weapons. However, if you change the ammo type here by putting high velocity on it, you're no longer going to have the tracers, which kind of sucks because if you want to properly use that thermal scope that comes on this by default, you're probably going to want to have high velocity on it too. But if you put that on it, Bye-bye tracers. Moving on to the hardest thing to test, the new vehicle skin. This vehicle only spawns when bots drive it into the map, and bots can drive in quite a few different vehicles, so it might take us a second to find this. Oh, there we go. There's one of the vehicles. If we could just clear the bots around it. So this vehicle looks completely broken down, but if we get inside it, you can see this version's a lot less of a rundown version of the skin. Let's drive it a little bit away from the bots so they don't destroy it real quick. Yeah, this turned it from a very ugly looking truck into actually a pretty decent looking one. Unfortunately, the bots did a lot of damage to this vehicle, knocking off a lot of the front plates. You can't really see too much of the Damascus pattern on it. I just like this vehicle skin because it looks a lot better than the rusted, ugly version of this truck that the bots normally drive in. Like this one right here. Oh, we can get a fresh one. Lucky me. No. Bots, chill. Bots, wait up. Wait. Here we go. This is a way better example. So here's how the truck looks normally. You can see it's very rusted and it's just not a very good looking truck. But as soon as we get in it, it's going to apply the skin. And now you can see it's a lot more angular and it's not near as rusted. It has a little bit of Damascus on here. However, it's almost like Damascus rust on the edges. And yeah, this is definitely the best vehicle skin I own for this truck now. Finally, let's see if the tracers and dismemberment effects work here in DMZ. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. So in terms of the impact effects, yes, you can still see that liquid metal. Now let's see what happens if we take down an enemy. However, I think the one in front of us is the scavenger boss, so maybe not the best example. All right, here we go. So yes, it appears that the dismemberment effects do work in Warzone and DMZ. Overall, this bundle isn't the best bundle, but you got to take into consideration this one's only 1,800 COD points compared to the 2,400 COD points. If you love Damascus and you like the Cast-Off and the Tempest Torrent, this is a pretty decent bundle. However, that being said, both the Cast-Off 7.4U and the Tempest Torrent already have blueprints with tracers and impact effects, so there's a chance you already have blueprints for these weapons. So overall, it's okay if you like Damascus. It's just not the best bundle offering for this season. With that, guys, we're going to wrap this up. If you want to see any more bundle reviews where we go in depth with everything you possibly want to know, make sure to unlock the subscribe button. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.